The wrongs we must right. The fights we must win. The future we must secure together for our nation. This is what's in front of us. This determines what's next for all of us. We are Marines. We were made for this.
I've got too many bills.
If you need funds, you can apply in minutes at CashNetUSA.com and have the money in your account as soon as the same business day.
Okay, got it. Applying now.
They've been helping hardworking people cover emergency expenses since 2004.
Hey, look, I got it.
You've got this.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See CashNetUSA.com for more details.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Wednesday morning tune. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV. However you're taking us in this morning, we do appreciate it. It's Gil Alexander. It's Kelly Bidlin, live from Bar Canada at the D. What a day. I should say in studio. On the table with us here at the D.
On the shield.
On the shield. Here, live in person, JVT's going to come over. He apparently was doing Follow the Money. He's going to walk over. He's going to avoid the shivings.
Yep.
He's going to come here, and he's going to spend a segment with us. And then a little later on the show,
he's nimble. He can dodge.
He is. He's very agile. Nimble guy. Agile. Reflexes like a cat, I'm told.
Yep.
And then Will Hill later here at the table with us.
Big day.
Yes.
Big day. Will Hill in person.
This is a magnet. Will he bring his kids? I don't know. Maybe he'll bring his
kids. Yeah, I don't know. He's got his whole family.
Yeah, we'll see. Jason Weingarten in between. Sadly, Jason will not be in studio with us. Or here at the table, I should say.
Yeah.
Can't have it all. And Matt Brown. Come on. Embarrassment of riches. Matt Brown will join as co-host of The Handle and Long Shots, talk about his NFL draft plays, his golf thoughts for the RBC Heritage this weekend. Crack will be with us from the RBC tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
In South Carolina.
I know he was going over there. He's going to the tournament, though?
Yeah, I think he's planning himself right in the tournament. This time he doesn't have to be outside the premises. He can actually be in it,
All right, we'll have to work on him getting the lighthouse in the background.
He's doing He's already said he's doing the lighthouse in the background. It's already taken care of.
Are you serious?
I swear to God.
Bill Krakenberger on location.
He's like,
shots
I'll have the lighthouse behind me. You already said it. Okay, we added more NFL draft props, Kelly and I, or at least I did. Did you add any yesterday?
Yeah.
We'll get to those.
I don't know. All these days are running together. I think I did yesterday.
Guardians update coming as well. Okay, but first the NBA. We must talk about the Western Conference play-ins from last night. Specifically, we'll start with the first game where the Lakers get it done. The Lakers, as the 9 beat the New Orleans Pelicans, the 8, they win by 4 in the end. And they, for their victory, get the grand prize of now getting the 7th seed and having to face the Denver Nuggets in a best-of-7 first-round series. The defending champs will enjoy that. First, though, last night, what a ball game this was. Pelicans took a 10-point lead in the first half, 36-26 in the second quarter. Lakers then went on a 12-0 run to go up 2. Then when they were up 1, 45-44, they went on a 13-0 run. It was a 32-8 run in total at that point for the Lakers. They led by 14 at that point. They led by 10 at the half. They led by as many as 18 in the third quarter twice. But the Pels cut it to 7 by the end of the third quarter. Then they fought back all the way to tie it at 93 and then again at 95. But Zion Williamson with his dunk to tie it at 95, putting in his 40th points, his 39th and 40th point of the night, I guess lands funny and is hurt. And so at the 3:13 mark, a few seconds later, the Lakers called timeout in the tie ball game. He was done for the night. And it was a collective groan from everybody when you saw him hobbling off, because this was a brilliant Zion performance.
Best game of his career.
Best game of his career, and with the highest stakes, and one would say a reminder of just how great he is. Mm-hmm. And then he gets hurt, which is also sort of part of the Zion story. Lakers would be tied at 97, 99 again, and the Pelicans never took the lead, though. Russell's 3, D'Angelo Russell, who was great, his 3 that put the Lakers up 104-100 with under a minute left was pretty much the end, because then they free-throwed him to death after that. 2 from AD, 2 from Reeves, 2 from AD to seal the deal. And so the Lakers move on. The Pelicans are not done. They will now play the winner the Kings, who crushed the Warriors last night. Let me be accurate. In a elimination game, winner takes the 8th seed and will play OKC in a best of 7. The loser will be eliminated, just like the Warriors were eliminated last night.
And they're calling that Zion injury. It was leg soreness is what they first reported it as, and everybody was like, what are you talking about,
You don't leave
leg
a game for soreness.
Hamstring is what they're calling it now, and tests coming today. So
brutal.
Just looking ahead at that game, it's Pelicans. It was Pelicans 1. There's some places Kings 1 now. Pick them for a lot of spots. Until you know about Zion, makes it really tough for me to look at that game either side.
Denver Nuggets are a minus 310 favorite in their best of 7 first-round series against the Lakers. Lakers plus 250 on the comeback. Is minus 310 too low?
Maybe. It opened, I stared at minus 285 for too long. I was like, that might be a little too low. And then it just started ticking up. So I might actually be looking to, I think we might have this option at a shop or two in town where I might actually be able to parlay a series price. So I actually might throw that in with the Mavs.
Okay. All right. And then again, the 9-10 game, or excuse me, not the 9-10 game, but the loser again, the Pelicans and the Kings will play. And we don't know about Zion.
Yeah.
So really that's the thing you have to wonder about.
Yeah, it's tough. It will be interesting to hear from JVT. Right now, there's kind of nowhere I could go with that game until I know about Zion. At Sacramento, I'm still not. It was a great performance last night. Keegan Murray was incredible. You got the Keegan Murray game, though, last night. And
he was awesome. By the way, that Kings-Pelicans game is on Friday night.
Right, yeah. So are they going to be able to replicate that kind of success? I don't really buy into that, but you're talking about a Pelicans team. If Zion's banged up, Brandon Ingram couldn't even see the end of the floor last night in that game.
Kings are 1-point favorites, or we're showing the Pelicans as 1-point favorites. I'm looking at a book that has the Kings as the 1-point favorite, so it's kind of right in that pocket right now.
You can find it both sides. Pick'ems are out there too.
Which presumes a diminished Zion at best. That line to me.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If he plays at all, right? So, nothing there. And Lakers Nuggets, like I said, might end up tying that Nuggets series price in there. But that might be a series. I think after what we saw in the Western Conference Finals last year, it was a sweep. Every game was close and competitive, though. For the most part, that's a series, if I don't get involved in, I think will still be great to watch.
Remind everybody, tonight the Bulls 3-point favorites in the 9-10 against the Hawks, and in the 7-8 in the East. Sixers now a 5-point favorite against the Heat. What are your plays in those?
Yeah, I laid it with the Sixers, laid 4.5 with the Sixers. I'd be fine laying 5. I guess at this point you should wait and know for sure that Joel Embiid is playing, but we're in the NBA playoff time where injury reports are always going to be, he's questionable, sure.
Not like they're better in the regular season either.
But this is where they all try to hide stuff, right?
Can I do 3 minutes of sports talk radio?
Oh, of course.
Because...
And then Drew really liked Atlanta-Chicago over tonight.
He likes the over.
I know that was his favorite play of the play-ins.
Which is at 223 right now. Okay. The Warriors get crushed by the Kings. And I just feel like as much as I've talked about the Warriors through the years, if you've listened to a numbers game and all the bets that we've had on the Warriors through the years, that it deserves a mention that if that in fact was Klay Thompson's last game with the Warriors, now Steve Kerr says they want him back. It probably will come up to what Klay wants and who's going to pay him and who's not going to pay him to see if he remains with the Warriors. But if that in fact was the last game for Klay Thompson with the Golden State Warriors, it deserves a postscript to what I have referred to. And by the way, Klay last night goes out with the 0 for 10. And Evan Abrams posted, Klay played 882 games in his NBA career with 10-plus field goal attempts entering that game. It was the first time he went scoreless. Had never finished 0 for 3 field goal wise or worse in any game prior to that. I referred to the Warriors dynasty as the most beautiful thing in sports a myriad of times here on this show, too many to count. And honestly, they have been. They drafted Steph Curry in 2009 with the 7th pick in the draft, while the Memphis Grizzlies of the world were drafting Hasheem Thabit before that, and the T-Wolves were drafting Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn before that. And Curry fell after his magical run to the Elite Eight with Davidson. He fell to the Warriors at 7. And he was often injured early, had all kinds of ankle problems. A couple years later, the Warriors drafted a kid with the 11th pick out of Washington State by the name of Klay Thompson. And I just remember thinking at the time, Klay Thompson, big deal. And then the next year, after drafting Harrison Barnes, by the way, it should be noted, but the next year, they ended up trading midseason Monte Ellis, a little after the midseason mark, Monte Ellis. And the Bay Area fan base for the Warriors went ballistic. How could you possibly trade Monte Ellis away from this team? And I remember hanging out with Dr. Bob every day. I've said this many times on the show, and him telling people this is the greatest thing that ever happened to this franchise. You have no idea what it means when Ellis is on the court, how it stifles this team, and when he's off the court, and when Steph is on the court. And nobody could really see it but the analytics community at first. And then in the second round of the 2012 draft with the 35th pick overall, they draft a kid out of Michigan State that everybody knew from his college runs, Draymond Green. And there established was these three guys that no one could have possibly imagined what would take place. And in 2015, they end up winning the NBA title. Bob had them at 40-1. And this was when the Giants had just won 3 World Series. Nobody believed the Warriors aren't supposed to win NBA titles. Mm-hmm. They win it in 2015. They come back the next year and go 73-9, breaking Jordan and the Bulls 72-10, and famously lose after being up 3-1 against LeBron's Cavs, which was a huge disappointment. But the next year they came back. It was the first year of VSiN. South Point had a prop. Will the Warriors win every single playoff game? Will they go undefeated? Guess what? They won their first 15. They came 1 game shy. They ended up going 16-1 in that postseason and won their second NBA title. This was with KD. The next year, they win it again for the back-to-back. And at that point, people were like, well, but 2 of them were with KD, so maybe the other guys aren't all that great. Yeah, well, don't worry about that. 2018, when they went for the repeat, it was all the injuries, right? It was Klay blowing out his knee in the finals. It was KD straining his calf in the semis and then blowing out his Achilles in the finals. That's what it took for the Raptors to beat them.
Lost so much money on that series.
They tanked it in 2020, remember? Because Steph only played 5 games and Klay was recovering. 2021, they lost in the play. And 2022 was the year it solidified. They won the title again without KD. 2 without him, 2 with him. And all along, they changed the game, the way the sport was actually played. And so if that's Klay Thompson's last game with the Warriors, let's pour one out for the most beautiful thing in sports. Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. In today's newsletter,
we got a lot of NBA play-in previews from Jonathan Von Tobel, Zach Cohen, and much more.
Only we could talk to one of those guys. Get expert analysis and the latest odds delivered straight to your inbox, absolutely free. Visit VSiN.com/newsletter to subscribe. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin, live from Bar Canada at the D. And sauntering over from Circa, where he just filled in on Follow the Money and has done so all week. It is our senior NBA analyst and the co-host of VSiN Prime Time, which he does with Tim Murray each and every weeknight here at the network. It's Jonathan Von Tobel, everybody, at Me JVT, not courtesy of the Progressive guest line.
No, that's right. I'm here. So right. Progressive, well, I mean, they still get the pop, but yeah. I'm here. No guest line.
Before we get into your thoughts on the Nuggets and the Lakers and other series, I just want to conclude I was paying tribute to the most beautiful thing in sports, the Warriors dynasty, if it in fact is the last game of Klay Thompson. It might not be, but if it in fact was. The postscript to that story is when they did tank, in quotes, the 2020 season, Steph only played 5 games, Klay was recovering from the knee, that they whiffed on the number 2 pick in James Wiseman. History will now say it in terms of Warriors' perspective. They whiffed on it. And so that ability to sort of sustain any dynasty, yes, they got the championship in 2022, but it was kind of a year where, remember, Ja got hurt in the playoffs. Jamal was out for the Nuggets. So it was kind of like a holding pattern for the Western Conference that year, and so the Warriors capitalized on that because they were the steadiest ship. I just wonder, John, if is it the storybook ending, the fairy tale is you win the championship and you go out. But now is it the NBA purgatory for them no matter what happens the rest of Steph's career?
No, I wouldn't say no matter what. I think it definitely depends because they do have intriguing young talent now on the roster. You know, Brandon Pajemski is solid. Moses Moody performed pretty well. Obviously, Kuminga is probably like the stalwart piece of that. They look like he is going to grow. So I think it really just depends on what you're going to do here moving forward. We shouldn't ignore Trace Jackson-Davis, who is now their starting center.
Yep.
So I think they've got some intriguing young pieces that if you handle your next few moves right, that you can at least be a competitor once again. I do think that includes, I know Steve Kerr did the whole, like, we really want Clay back. I think you're okay with him leaving. And I think, like I brought up, this isn't the perfect 1-for-1, but, like Buddy Hield is going to be a free agent. Buddy Hield's going to be a lot cheaper, a much more consistent shooter, lesser defensively, but still Clay hasn't really been the dominant defender. Like little moves like that and filling out your roster that way, I think you can kind of catapult yourself to being a little bit more competitive.
And you were saying GM Kelly Bidlin, Kelly was put on his GM hat last night, that like you were like, oh, if Clay could just be on the Pelicans and be one of these shooters with Zion.
Well, I blew up the whole Pelicans roster, but that was me me texting you that of like I'd blow up the whole Pelicans roster, rebuild around Zion, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, maybe keep a couple of the smaller pieces. But I was texting you this. I'm like, but this is very dependent on Zion's health. And like 5 minutes later, he goes down.
Yeah.
And then we're watching the Warriors game, and I'm like, a good piece to add to my Zion team would be a Klay Thompson on the cheap, to play a little 3-and-D, and then he goes like 0 for last night.
So my new Klay spot was in pinstripes in Orlando.
Okay.
Which I think would fit really nicely for a team
that would work.
Yeah, you know what I mean? A little inconsistent at the 2 guard in terms of shooting.
Yeah. Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson, when that day comes. Okay. Nuggets and Lakers. It's the 2-7. So for the Lakers' joy last night, they get the grand prize of having to take on the Nuggets, the defending champs in a best-of-7, and Nikola Jokic. We were saying minus 310 was the price on the Nuggets here. Is that too high? Is that too low? Is that just about right?
I think it's just about right. If you were to say, like, pick a side, I think it'd be a little too low. I have a lot of respect for Denver, the starting 5 that they have. And while the Lakers, they've turned things around, and I've said they're better this year than they were last year. But the reason why they're better, Gil, is they've sacrificed their defense for offense. If you look for the season, they're floating around 20 in terms of defensive efficiency, whether you sort for garbage time or, just regular defensive efficiency. Post-All-Star break, they were 22nd in non-garbage time defensive efficiency. And they've done that for a good reason because they shoot the ball better. They have better perimeter players in D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, but they're just not that great at the point of attack defensively. So I think it's a matchup where Jamal Murray has a lot of success. Again, you go back to last year, the thing that hasn't changed is, last time I checked, Nikola Jokic is still a member of the Denver Nuggets. Mm-hmm. They tried a lot of different things. They were one of the first, premier teams, we'll say, to try power forward on Jokic, have Anthony Davis as the roving defender. Didn't work. He averaged a triple-double on 50% shooting against them in that postseason series. And so for me, with those differences being there, and I think that pushes them forward, I think that gets Denver to win the series. Now, where they get more competitive is Denver's bench is still an unknown, right? Bruce Brown's not there, Jeff Green's not there, and you do have guys coming off the bench that you trust a little bit more in Taurean Prince for LA. But I still think ultimately when you can stagger your center minutes with a guy like Aaron Gordon to play center when Nikola Jokic is off the floor, when you have such an edge in the backcourt, when you still have a guy like Reggie Jackson to come off of the bench, to me it still gets me to the point where I think it's Nuggets in about 6 at worst.
Anything tonight in the Eastern Conference play-in games? And beyond that, what's your favorite series play that's established?
So I bet both games today. I laid, Kelly and I were texting about this a little bit yesterday. I laid 4.5 with the Philadelphia 76ers. I like this matchup for them. Tyrese Maxey cooked the Miami Heat in the regular season. If you look at the regular season series finale, he actually almost had like a 40-point triple-double in that game against Miami. Yeah. And Embiid's great. And they tried. I went back and watched that game again. They tried everything for Philly, or for Miami defensively. They tried a zone. They tried a box and one. They tried a lot of different things, and it just didn't work. And Miami, I'm sorry, but we're doing this resting on the laurels of a finals run from last year. Jimmy's talking again.
I was waiting.
Right, but their most used lineup stinks. Terry Rozier has been inconsistent, and he's unhealthy.
And he's out tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly. So then you look at that point guard position, you're like, well, the guy we got to potentially fix our inconsistent offense isn't even going to be out there today. I just think there's too many things that work in the favor of the 76ers. Should also know, too, last 16 games, Philly, very quietly, 13-2-1 against the spread. They've really turned things on here. So I laid 4.5 here with Philly. I think that last time I looked, when I walked over here, at least 45 minutes ago, circa was 4.5 juiced. Yeah. So you go out there and lay minus 115. I think that's playable. And for the other one, I double dipped a bit. I'm going to do this one last time. Atlanta money line, Atlanta plus 3. I think that this matchup works better for them here against Chicago. Chicago was dead last in opponent three-point frequency. Atlanta has turned it up. They're shooting more threes. They have Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and Bogdan Bogdanovic playing together. They're going to put up a lot of threes. And I go back to the regular season finale, Gil, for New York. One of the things that the Knicks did so well against the Chicago Bulls was, Nikola Vucevic, you're in every pick and roll, and we're going to attack you, and we're either going to use that soft area of the floor that you're going to leave when you drop, or because you're playing tight, we're going to cut baseline, we're going to kill you there. The Atlanta Hawks can do that, and I think they can do that really well. So I think from a matchup standpoint, this works for Atlanta. So I think Atlanta wins this game. I think they move on. I think they eliminate Miami. I think Miami doesn't make the postseason, and I think your 7 and your 8 are Philly and Atlanta.
Will you, sight unseen with the series price, will you be dipping on Philadelphia in the 7-2?
Yeah, I think yes. So for me right now, Philly is I don't think it's unfair to say. They're like the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I've got a future on them that I bet back in December before Joel Embiid got hurt and all the madness happened. That I was feeling really good about because they looked awesome. But when you look at Joel Embiid, not really having dropped off since he's come back. He's looked very, very good. And for me, the low-key thing is, and I think he's officially out for today, but DeAnthony Melton, it looks like he's going to be back for this postseason. And if that's the case, their starting lineup, when they had him out there with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, they had a plus 33.3 net rating in the regular season. They were awesome together. It gives you the defensive-oriented guard. You have your dominant backcourt scorer. You have Joel Embiid. I think this team is great. And, of course, the more important part, right, is the side of the bracket they fall on, which is avoiding Boston until potentially an Eastern Conference Finals. It's a pick now between Milwaukee and Indiana and that series price. So you could see a scenario where you're talking about Knicks, Pacers, and then the Celtics for the Philadelphia 76ers. So I'd say, yes, not only would Philly be the bet for me in the Knicks series, but I think big picture, the Sixers maybe have a really clear path to finally make it to an Eastern Conference Finals at the very least.
What other series bets you make?
So I haven't really bet anything yet because they do have some investments in some of these teams futures-wise. I'll say this. So, for example, I've got the Clippers at 30-1 to win the NBA Finals. I will say this now. If Kawhi Leonard's playing, that series price to me is wrong. They deserve to be favored against the Dallas Mavericks. There's this weird Mandela effect going on when it comes to the Mavericks and the success that Doncic and the Mavericks have had against the Clippers. The Clippers are 2-0 in the postseason series against against Doncic and the Mavericks. And here's the other thing. When you look at that matchup itself, guys, if Kawhi Leonard plays, let's do a little bit of math. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are going to – one of them is going to guard one of Paul George, James Harden, or Kawhi Leonard. It's just simple math when you talk about these starting five that are out there. There's a lot of different mismatches that L.A. can also throw at the Dallas Mavericks in a series like that. Now, again, it is dependent on a team that has lied through their teeth multiple times about the status of Kawhi Leonard. But if you tell me Kawhi is healthy, I do think that there is value in that plus price now on the Clippers to win this series.
Excellent use of the Mandela effect, by the way.
Right? That's when everybody misremembers something, right?
That's correct.
Because everybody thought Mandela had died earlier than right? Is that what it was?
I believe that it was, yeah. What was it also? Some people believe that Mr. Peanut wore a monocle and he didn't or something like that.
Oh, there's a lot
of these things.
Well, the big one.
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut had a monocle?
No. Well, the big thing for me, since I have kids, it's I don't know if you remember the old stories, the Bernstein Bears.
Oh yeah.
It's actually the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, JVT, you definitely informed me of that.
Yeah.
What is
a couple
it?
years
They're
ago.
Baron. What are they?
It's Berenstain Bears.
Oh.
But I remember them as the Bernstein Bears.
Well, we tried to claim them, and they wouldn't let us have them. We're going to talk NFL draft on the other side. I know you've done 3 hours. You can stay if you want to talk NFL draft.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Still undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. No one's told me they're leaving. All right, we'll talk NFL draft. I added some more. We'll find out what JVT. Let's just put it this way. What does he think he knows for sure? Let's start with that. On the other side, Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. For a limited time, we're offering 2 weeks of our exclusive betting splits for free. Just sign up at VSiN.com/splits. The VSiN betting splits page is updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes so you can see changes in all the action. Find out where the public is betting based on the number of tickets and where the money does not match the public opinion. You can check out not just today's action, but future events as well. Take advantage of this limited time offer. Visit VSiN.com/splits now to claim your free 2-week access to VSiN's betting splits. Don't strike out on potential winnings. Visit VSiN.com/splits. Start making smarter bets today. It's Gil Alexander live from Bar Canada at the D. Kelly Bidlin in the hizzy. I would read tweets, but they're all Seeger songs. So just overrun with Bob Seger song selections. So I'm almost sorry I brought it up. But thank you for your Bob Seger, your favorite Bob Seger jams. Does Bob Seger have jams? Does he call it that? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Doesn't feel like jams. Ladies and gentlemen, after appearing on every other VSiN show but ours, it's the great Will Hill, host of the Shoulda Bet More podcast. On the table at the D was Hatton.
Yeah.
What's going on? By all, you mean two?
Listen, you were on the Greg Peterson Experience. You were on Gone Racing. You were on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod. You were on everything. Which shows were you on? You were on Sharp Money.
Yeah, Sharp Money, Al Bernstein, and then Lombardi Line yesterday.
Lombardi Line.
Yes.
You're on everything. Well, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Al's a very nice guy, by the way, too.
Oh, Al is the sweetest. Al is the sweetest man on earth.
He is. He really is.
We talk sometimes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I thought when he texted me out of the blue, he was going to give me his lounge show, and I got super excited about it, and then it turned out he's still doing his lounge show. What's happening, man? So you and the family are at Caesars.
Yes.
Are you here collecting money? What's this, just a tour? What's going on?
Just wanted to come visit.
Okay.
Usually, before kids, I was here pretty much every year, sometimes twice a year. With kids, it's not as easy. So I was here maybe a year, almost 2 years ago now. So I like to still come every, year or two. And I still love it. It's the best. There's nothing like Vegas. I will say it does lose a little bit. Like I can bet now in Connecticut.
Yes.
There is a little bit of, I remember the feeling of you get off the plane, wow, I can go up and bet anything. This is so crazy. It's not. There's a little bit of that's
Remember that feeling when you were so excited to get off the plane. You're like, move everybody, I want to bet.
I can have the ticket in my hand,
Yes.
all of that. I can collect my money when I win, like all of that. That diminishes a little bit when it's legal, but that's it's still a lot of fun. And I watched the Lakers Pelicans at the sportsbook. I forgot how much fun it is to watch just a game at a sportsbook, a big game where you hear the cheers of the crowd and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. By the way, Pelicans, when you're down for all these announcers, hey, we don't need a three. You need a three. You can't just trade twos for foul shots. They never gave themselves a chance to tie it. They just kept layup, foul. They never got to three.
They never got the lead because of that.
Yeah.
And how about, did you catch the Reggie Miller thing?
I was just going to bring it up.
Reggie Miller, they were up 2, so AD hits 2, and then Austin Reeves hits 2 free throws, and then the final foul. If AD hits the first, the Lakers go up 3. This is with a few seconds left in the game now. And then before Reggie Miller was talking about like he should think about missing the second one, and I'm like, but they'd be up 4. Like, what are you talking about? That was like a very odd exchange, and Harlan seemed to agree with him. It was like, okay, what's happening?
I thought I didn't hear it clearly. I thought maybe he meant if you miss the first one, miss the second one because they don't have time to catch it without timeouts. And
he did, but you still go up 4.
But I think they were up 2.
No, so you make the way that I took it.
I was in the kitchen when he said it, and I was like, what did I just hear? But all the tweets afterward were making it sound like Reggie meant to say something different than he actually said.
Because they were up 2.
Right.
And Reggie Miller was sort of saying that we talk about this on the team planes all the time back in the day. You make the first, and then, the ball caroms off the third one.
Yeah,
that's great, but if you go up 4, you go up 4.
Exactly.
Right?
I thought he meant if you miss the first, maybe just might as well miss the second so you don't give themselves.
Well, if he did, he should have explained it better.
Yeah.
By the way, you are also on this Guardians bet. You and I did this independently.
Yeah.
It's funny that we both landed because you got it from somebody else too, right? You got it from somebody else.
I don't remember if I was going through the schedule and we texted about it like within minutes of each other. Like, wow, I just bet that too, and I don't know. But
I spent a day just going into all the baseball props the day before the baseball season. I landed on this bet, and I text Will. I'm like, oh, this is Will and Felica. I'm like, I'm betting this Guardian 65-1, and Will's like, oh yeah, I bet that, but not at the same price. You got it a little less, but. As you're watching these games yesterday, you're watching the Pelicans on one screen and the Guardians on the other. Which actually had most of your attention?
The Guardians. And I
sure.
I kind of given up. Bear's the worst. Bear will give up on anything as soon as there's a man on first with one out.
By the way,
the worst.
If you ever, and then Chris Felica jumped on our bet with us.
Add him to the list.
If you ever have a bet with Felica, he's the worst human being alive to have the same side as. Exactly what you were saying.
We get the bases loaded, one out. Here comes a double play. Here comes a strikeout. It's like he's you ever see Major League 2 or Randy Quaid, that character when he's just saying all the blow in the ninth? That's the Bear. It's the worst. But
Bear.
I had kind of given up too after Saturday the way they lost the doubleheader to the Yankees. Then they were down 4-0 early to the Yankees on Sunday, and all right, what? It was a good run, but here they are.
Here they are. Don't control the 12-5. If it were to have ended right now, we would have won this. And don't control our own destiny because that one game that was forfeited because of rain in Minnesota. So the Yankees and Royals, because the Yankees have one more game to play, the Royals have 2 more games to play, technically are the teams that control the destiny. But the Guardians are in as good a spot as we could possibly have them in. And this is starting to feel real.
Gil, you said it's not dead heat. It's not a dead heat
It
if it ends with most wins?
The tiebreaker is fewest losses.
Fewest losses.
Right.
Okay. So okay.
Yeah. Tiebreakers, fewest losses. So, again, this is I'll say it again, like baseball's in my brain, tennis is my brain on crack. These are really well-conceived bets that I make in baseball, and I feel like this would be a masterpiece if it gets home.
Will, do you remember what the Dodgers' number was on this to start? Like, I mean, 3-1, 4-1?
2 or 3-1, probably.
Because they had a couple more games,
They already had played 2. They would play 2 extra games at the beginning, yeah.
Plus, if you're going to handicap the weather, they're playing a lot of their games in L.A., San Diego. You don't have to worry about rainouts as much. It's funny, they had delays the other day, rain delays the other day. But
then we lost Shane Bieber.
Yes.
So, if it gets home, it gets home.
I get the sense you're very optimistic. You have a feeling this is getting home.
Oh, listen, I was optimistic when I made the bet. I'm like, whatever this is a horrible number.
Yeah.
And you saw that we haven't thrown this on the show, but I send you guys this update every night. And then I also sent what I thought they would have to do every series to get this home.
Right.
So, like, they'd have to sweep the A's, and they'd have to go 3-1 against Boston, like every series I had. And so it's kind of almost matched the whole way so far. But you're not taking on 4 teams in your division. You're taking on all 30 teams in baseball. So, again, someone pointed this out on Twitter, look at all those teams that are right in the rear view. Like, if you lose 2 or 3, you're done. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's like the Yankees and Dodgers both have 12 wins too, although more losses. But you got the Braves and the Orioles and the Padres and the Pirates and the Royals. They're all 1 game back. So this, I mean, you can't be that confident about it.
What do you got? Yeah, what do you guys think the magic number is for you to get home? 9?
What's the magic number of total wins?
Yeah.
Oh,
you got 12 games left.
When they had the total number of games, in other words, they hadn't lost that game in Minnesota yet, or hadn't lost the opportunity for that game in Minnesota, I said, what did I send? 23-7, I thought. So now I would say 22-7.
So 10. Okay.
I think if you win, I think if the Guardians were to, obviously it sounds crazy, right? If they go to 10-1, they're winning this. If they go 8-3 or 9-2, then it gets tie-ish.
It's gonna be dicey there,
right?
Yeah. I think anything less than that, it's
tough.
It's probably shot.
It's just tough because there's so many teams.
Would you sign for 8-3 right now?
Yeah, I would take 8-3 right now.
I would too.
Because the last 4 games are the tough ones. They got 3 at Atlanta and 1 at Houston. So the whole handicap was not the whole handicap, but a lot of the handicap was they've got this unbelievably easy schedule. 7 against the A's, 7 against the Red Sox, who I did not have rated high, 3 against the White Sox, but there was always those 4 games at the end. 3 at Atlanta, 1 at Houston.
Oh, that's
so they got it. You want a mini
because
cushion.
You can't hedge really then at all. Like if they did have like final day or whatever, right? Because they're probably going to be a dog.
Yeah, but
although Houston has not played well.
Houston has not played well. But in my thing, the Houston Atlanta 4 games total, I had written down 2-2 as like, okay, you got to account for 2 losses there at the end.
So you basically got to run pure outside of those last 2 series then.
Well, because you got to assume another team is going to get hot, right? And the Braves and the Orioles are that sneaky, freaky brother sneaking in from the rear 1 game back where you're like, oh, no, there's the Braves in the rear view. God help us. So anyway, it's just such a great bet for so many reasons because it forces you to think in different ways about schedule, about different teams, about weather, about your starting rotation, just about everything. It gets you, it just completely makes you dive into a sport.
I love that you add up the 1-run games every night. I feel like for the self pain.
Just for the pain.
You just want to be like, oh, great, the Yankees are 6-1, great.
By the way, it should be 6-2 on the Yankees.
6-2.
Yeah, the run differential where the Guardians have the second best, and yes, the worst of it so far on the 1-run differential. Yeah, that's totally self-loathing. Totally.
I thought we were looking at another one last night, too, because the way they blew the game, then you're heading to the 9th. I know Jansen's shaky, but I don't know. It felt like it was headed for a painful. That was a great win last night.
All right, you have NFL draft bets? You have
Kind of.
NBA.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that on the other side. I didn't mean to yap through the Guardians bet, but you got me super excited.
I'm pumped for you guys now, too. I was 65-1. I can't blame you. If I had that bet last night was in the book too, I'd be watching more of that game.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the basketball game, but I wasn't really watching the basketball game. Shout out to Circa for putting up that market, March, April. Shout out to the boys. We'll come back. Will Hill, everybody. Should Have Bet More is the name of his podcast. He originally called it you should wager more on this, and I said no, go Should Have Bet More, and he's like, oh, you're right, okay. Should Have Bet More is the name of his podcast. More with Will next. miss out on any of the NBA playoff action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From the play-in tournament through the finals, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code VSIN. New customers bet $5. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code VSIN. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Jimmy Lopez says, so glad to see Kelly as a man of the people with his large Dunkin' hot coffee. There you go, man of the people.
Yeah, I got coffee problems down here. We've been down here for 6 months, 7 months. I still haven't figured out my coffee routine.
Chance Copperpot, Gil, I'm a little worried about our bets. You have the Guardians, and I have the Pirates for most wins in March, April, but there are 13 teams with 10 wins or more. It's not quite 13, but it's a lot. Oh, no, with 10, yes, he's right. With 10, it says 13 or more. We're at 12. Let's see, Ben McGovern. What do you think about the Giants taking a quarterback with their first pick at plus 150? They can't go into the season with that quarterback room. Daboll will get fired. I love the quarterback room. Todd loves that. Mike Rouse, holy gun show from Will Hill. When do we get the Will Hill versus Matt Brown weightlifting competition? That was the first thing I said to Will. I go, hey, maybe you should work out a little more. What's your story, man?
Oh, man.
I lift. I'm in the cardio. Could use a little work. I probably could probably go on one of those Dustin and JVT weight loss things, but it's I still try to get the weights in, yeah.
I kind of want to set up an old strongman competition between Matt Brown and Will Hill now.
Will is.
I think Matt's getting smoked.
Well, Matt's more of a,
lean, mean fight machine.
Mean guy. Right. Right. Will seems very uncomfortable with this conversation.
No, they have the Patriots-Giants Super Bowl from 2011 here, and it's funny. You remember these games and who won and stuff, but you forget the little details of it. Like, man, the Patriots blew this game. It was 17-9 in the third quarter. They had the ball. They threw a bad interception.
Is this where Eli makes that unbelievable pass to
yes, Manningham
in the corner coming up on the next play, I think, right?
Yeah, it's got to be right around there. As you say, maybe we're a play or two away, but
I think we're next play, yeah. Or they get maybe it's a wrong drive. Okay, I'm sure it's great for people to listen to us and watch any game.
Go play-by-play on it, guys.
What's your guys? I don't know if you know this, but I don't know who wins this. It's going to be incredible. Okay, basketball. Do you have any play-in plays tonight in the Eastern Conference?
It's hard to lay the points with Philly. I would take the points with Philly. I do think, and Kelly, I'm curious what you think. I think Miami probably has to go zone tonight when you're playing Hero and Duncan Robinson and Love. I don't know that they have the athleticism to stay in front of Philly, but how many minutes is Embiid going to play tonight? Is he going to play 40? Is he going to play 30? What kind of shape is he in? I would take the points with Miami.
I laid it with the Sixers. I would be betting it bigger if I was more confident. And the Embiid thing's seemingly going under the radar a little bit. Like he did leave that game on Friday and then didn't play on Sunday. I think he's going to be fine. I kind of think I'm on the Mavs pretty big series and everything there. I'm a little concerned that the Clippers have just been playing possum with the injury, too, with Kawhi, and it's, hey, we don't want to get in trouble for, resting him too many games down the stretch. Let's just say he's questionable out till the playoffs start, and I'm a little worried he comes back, and it's like, oh, there's Kawhi, and he's completely fine. But I don't really know. I mean, a lot of these are up in the air. Miami, though, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to mix up looks for sure. I think they're going to have to go heavy zone on him. Bam will have to have a big game, but he can't do it all by himself. He can't. And they just don't have the size to individually match up with him. So it's going to be, you're going to have to run doubles at him. They're definitely going to mix in some zone, though. They've been doing that this year. I would expect to see that tonight.
Anything on the other game?
Boy, it feels like the Bulls and the Hawks have played in the play-in for like 7 straight years. I know they've never played each other in the play-in. When you think of like Eastern Conference play-in, Eastern Conference mediocrity, you just think of the Bulls and the Hawks. It's such a depressing game.
It is.
Just take the whole NBA.
Oh,
if you took the NBA as a whole, the Bulls and the Hawks are the absolute quintessential play-in teams. It's
NBA.
Feels like they've done it for 8 years.
It's NBA purgatory.
Yes.
100%.
I think the Hawks have too much shooting for that. Like the Bulls don't have any shooting. They're going to have DeMar DeRozan mid-ranges and what else? Vucevic and Alex Caruso. It's just, again, it's such a depressing game. I would look towards an under. I know Fez has been good giving out these unders on these playing games. You see more intensity on defense. The pace is slowed down. Even both games last night started out fast and then just completely slowed down and both stayed under pretty comfortably. I just think the Hawks with Bogdanovic, Murray, and in Trae Young, that's more than what the Bulls have. So I would take the points. I guess I'd take the points in both games. I like the under in both games. nothing crazy, no huge bets, but I think my favorite bet would be the unders in both games.
Do you think the Nuggets price with the Lakers series, the 7-2 in the West, is correct? Minus 310 on the Nuggets.
Seems a little light, but it is LeBron and Davis. There's the concern somewhat with Murray's knee. It's about right. I mean, I know people say, hey, that's a terrible number. What do people think? It should be minus 400, 500, maybe. Again, it's minus 300. It's not like you're getting a huge bargain, but I do think it's probably a little cheap.
Cut to the shot of everybody after game 2 being like, oh, my God, they crushed them.
I mean, I still think it's Denver. I think it's still Denver, but I think if there is a reduction in the price, I think it makes sense. There's also just kind of like the timing of the playoffs, right? Like LeBron, you get a healthier and more refreshed LeBron James and AD in Series 1 than you would in the Western Conference Finals after battling through a long playoff stretch. I think there's that. I think where this Lakers team is at right now is a much better spot, even when they were a year ago going up against this Nuggets team. So I think it's still Nuggets. Nuggets will be fine in this series, but I think that's a little bit more dicey than we would have talked about this Lakers team last year going into this.
Lakers don't have a great matchup for Murray, too. They're playing these offensive lineups with Rui and D'Angelo Russell. They don't really have a good option to guard Murray. People that want to poke holes in Denver say, hey, they're players short. They never replaced Bruce Brown, and Bruce Brown was great for them in the playoffs last year and against the Lakers. So, I don't know. It's about right. I don't think it's a series I'll have a bet on. I do think there's some good bets on these correct series scores. Like some of these teams that are the lower seeds, you can bet on to like I like the Suns to win that series against the T-Wolves. You can get them to win in 6 plus 500. Like some of these teams like the Suns, the Magic, the Pacers, when you're the lower seed, you're probably not going to sweep. You're probably not going to win in 5. It's hard to win Game 7 on the road. Like that 6 is the sweet spot where, hey, you get the split early and you can just serve in terms of home court, and then you have a chance to close out Game 6. Instead of just taking them, minus 120, 5-1 to win in 6. At least if you want to.
Did you bet those?
Yeah.
Which series did you do that
Pacers
for?
in 6, Suns in 6, and what was the third one? Magic in 6, but all around 5-1.
Wow. All right. In lieu of series prices, you went that way?
No, I did a little on the series price too. I'd say 3/4 of my bet on the series price, then just a quarter on winning 6. Because again, like, you're not going to sweep. You're not going to win in 5. It's hard to win in 7. If you're going to win the series, you're probably going to win in 6.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing that with. I'm going to add some Mavericks alts as well, and I'm probably going to do something like that. I think Mavericks in 6. That's probably what I'm going to bet there.
Do you have any futures pending in the NBA?
I grabbed the Celtics like a week ago. It's minus 150 or so. I mean,
to win the East.
To win the East.
Yeah.
To win the East. I don't know.
My hypothetical prop of 5.5 losses for the Celtics in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You're way under on that.
Under. I know the first series will be tougher than usual, especially if you get the Heat. But I mean,
under, and I spit on your price.
Yes,
basically. Yes.
Pretty much. I mean, the second round, you're going to get the Magic or the Cavs in the second round. That is such a soft draw. Unless you think Embiid can be healthy and put it together for 3 rounds, and you can give him a hard time. I mean, you're talking about the Knicks. The Knicks is a 2 seed. The Bucks with a banged up Giannis, maybe the Pacers. I mean, this is as weak a conference as I can really remember.
Round 1, the Celtics and the Heat. Everybody.
We were talking about it during a break, but this is no matter if the Sixers get in, no matter if they're the 7 or the 8 seed, 2 of the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference playing in the first round.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Knicks or the Celtics that they play, you're getting 2 of the 3 best teams, in my opinion, left in the Eastern Conference playing each other in the first round.
What does the Sixers-Knicks series price look like?
Oh, man. Sixers slight favorite, assuming Embiid looks fine, right? I think something like that.
Minus 130 or something?
Yeah, Sixers minus 140, 150.
Minus 140 popped in my head randomly. Yeah. Because you got to make them a favorite, but then you can't be too offensive about it.
You can't. No, right. The Knicks have been great. I think that'll be a great series, actually. I don't know that I'll be heavily betting the Sixers in that series. Mitchell Robinson back. The Knicks.
It's a great home court, too. The Garden would be a great home court. That's hard to win in that building, but boy, if I was the Knicks, I would have thought twice about getting the 2 seed. I think I would have rather been the 3. I really do.
Any baseball today from you?
I played the Yankees. Gossman for the Blue Jays has been awful. His velocity's way down. He's throwing upper 80s, lower 90s. He's down a good 3 or 4 miles an hour. So Yankees, I don't know. Could you play the team total over? Could you play the game over? I know it went from 8 to 8.5, but just playing the Yankees I think is a good bet. And I'm going to take the Braves too. The Astros have looked awful. I mean, I guess
what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're in the World Series, the ALCS for 7 straight years. I guess you just can't do it every year, and the pitching's a mess. The Braves are still really good on offense. Fried going against JP France. So Braves minus 140 or so, and then the Yankees right around a pick minus 110 either way.
And no NFL draft from you. Nothing.
It's hard. First of all, I can't bet it in Connecticut.
Oh,
it's just
that's
there's
why.
not that much. I got burned last year. Remember this time last year, the second overall pick. Oh, it was going to be. It could be Jalen Carter. It could be Tyree Wilson. It could be Anderson. Oh, Will Levis was minus money going in the final week. It was none of those guys. So that's one where you hate losing money on the draft just because you just felt like you got burned on bad information, and you just feel dumb when you lose money on the draft. So I treaded lightly.
That's such a great point. Like, we won year after year after year after year after year. Did the euphoria of all those years match the sorrow of last year alone?
It hurt.
It hurt. It hurt for sure. And you're right. There is a stupidity factor. Yes. You feel dumb because I had lost on this nonsense.
Nope.
Kind of thing. Any place that I can cash those C.J. Stroud #1 pick pops, though. Yeah. I'm still willing to go. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it.
This was fun. Appreciate it.
Will Hill, everybody, at Not The Will Hill. Should have bet more. Gojo and Golick are next. Enjoy. From VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.